Bungie has released this article, Paving the Way for New Frontiers. They talk about what Destiny is going to look like in at least the next year with what they're calling Codename Frontiers, sort of their umbrella name for how Destiny is changing. They're trying to break the mold on what we have come to expect with Destiny. So they're telling us how now there's going to be 2 expansions a year, medium size as opposed to a single large expansion every year. 1 season goes along with that. The next one is Codenamed Apollo, to release in summer 2025, so a little less than a year away. Buying the expansion will get you stories that go along with it, locations, missions, weapons, gear. Looks like raids and dungeons are being tied into the expansion directly, as opposed to like dungeons being a separate purchase. Seasonal updates, which is free to all players. Appears everything down here is free. Reprise activities, gear, artifact, mods, modifiers, challenges, etc. The biggest takeaways from reading this article for me, 2 expansions per year, 4 major updates of free content. It was also how they talked about a lot of dev time is put into a single one-shot campaign, Lightfall, Witch Queen, Final Shape. All this work goes into the campaign, and we play through it one time. It looks like they're taking a step back from that, and they'll be putting less effort into a massive campaign that we play through once, and somehow changing it so that we either can use what's created for Apollo and Behemoth as sort of more replayable activities that we can actually grind. At least that's the hope. They talked about how they want no non-linear campaign experience for at least Apollo. More experiences similar to Dream City or Metroidvanias, which are like open world puzzles where you have to like explore in a non-linear fashion. You see something that you can't access, you have to go do some other part of the world, explore something, get an ability that lets you, phase through a wall or open up a portal or whatever in order to have progression through that world. And they even talk about roguelites and survival shooters in the future. So really breaking the mold on what Destiny has been for a while, because Destiny's been very formulaic up to this point. Also, only 2 seasons a year. They didn't really get too much into seasons, though. Seasons are very, very formulaic. We know exactly what to expect with those. So hopefully that changes up more. They didn't give too much info with that. Core game approachability, changing up the UI. They have this new thing called Portal. So it's going to be alongside the director map, but it's designed in a way for you to just load up the game, click a button that automatically launches you into an activity that gets you loot like right away. Which is going to be more new player friendly. And even right now, they said in the game, you can be a veteran player and load up the director in Destiny and be overwhelmed because it's gotten so unwieldy, so large because the game has so much content in it. Gear and challenges should matter. Yeah, so they're adding much more customization options to challenges, or to they're allowing you to customize the challenge in the game with more specificity. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 difficulty options on this mock-up. And I don't know where like a Grandmaster falls in terms of difficulty on this list. But as you advance through the difficulty options, it opens up the number of slots of modifiers you can add. So different ways to make enemies have a higher level of threat. this will in turn increase the tier of rewards that you get. As you increase from like silver, you know, only these first 3 options are available, and as you go up to gold, because you chose expert 3 and slotted more modifiers, you get access to more loot. That's similar to what we have in the game right now. I think master versus grandmaster, but this just gives you more control over those things. Some of these will be matchmaking. The more difficult ones will not be, especially once you start putting on certain modifiers. You wouldn't want to be match made into an expert 3 with really bad modifiers and you had no control over it. Introduce new enemy combatant abilities. So modifiers giving combatants new abilities. Change how you play, make you have to build craft. Like, based on what I've heard Tyson say before, the game director of Destiny 2, and based on what they're trying to get at here, to me it really looks like, you know, really turning up the dial on potential difficulty. Like, hopefully a grandmaster lands around here and you got to be crazy cook to go, you know, further than that into expert 3 or master 1. Because like right now these words don't really mean anything to us until we know how they play. That's my copium. I'm hoping it's, you know, you don't have to play this super high level stuff, but if you do, you're going to be rewarded for it. Because Tyson has said, you know, things like that in the past where you're actually going to fail. You're actually going to play a AAA game and fail. Like, that's what I want. Reminds you of Diablo Torment levels. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Apollo, from a narrative perspective, no longer a linear story. You'll be having like a web of multiple threads, and they'll design it in a way that isn't completely confusing, so you can unveil this story in any order, depending on how you play the game, which blows my mind. I don't have enough brain wrinkles to know how to create a story that does that, but that's what they're going to do with Apollo, which to me, again, makes it sound like whatever Apollo is in terms of like the campaign is being designed to be more replayable, so that we can use it in our like seasonal loot, armor, gear, whatever grind, along with those changes to the customizing the challenges, or customize how challenging to make activities. Expert 3 patrol mode. Hope it's not necessarily everything one-shots you. Yeah, you can't just turn up the dial and make everything one-shot you. Like, that sucks. That's not fun. I think they know that. It's got to be different. Into the unknown. When the rhythm of our story becomes predictable. That's how we create a situation, not a story. So the big takeaway here: core of Destiny changing, how they present the story changing, breaking the mold up. Destiny has become too formulaic. They're trying to be experimental here and change course so that Destiny is still relevant, still fun for existing players. Some changes to the new player experience with the portal UI. Not enough though. New Light still sucks. Let's see, what else did I miss? All activities will not go away. Oh, they also talked about the different versions of the fire team ops, the solo ops, was it in this one? Yeah. So categories from the portal. So these will be kind of the labels used for what to expect in certain activities that'll help group up what activities are and what rewards come from them. So solo ops, 1 to 3 player activities that are pretty easy. Think like patrols, fire team ops, like strikes, coil, flashpoint ops, 6 player activities for like offensives, pinnacle ops, things like exotic missions and dungeons, and then where are raids at in this? I guess raids don't really show up in this. Oh, because raids aren't in the portal yet. That's what it is. And then Crucible as well. All right, what else did I miss? Anything else? Oh, offering tiers of weapons now that kind of streamline things. So the problem currently is that in Destiny seasons, only a narrow range of activities received updated rewards, leading to a narrow selection of activities worth playing. These reward pools tend to not be very deep and bottom out fast. These problems have resulted in shallow, unsatisfying grinds, and a tiny subset of the activities actually available to play, with the best rewards being a matter of luck rather than skill or mastery. So they're coming out with weapon and armor tiers to help fix that. Reasons to play, seasonal content that hopefully isn't just like a new seasonal activity that we've done the same version of before. Hopefully it's somehow involved in like, content that's more interesting, that has more tiers to grind. Like you can imagine like a tier 5 sword, immediately drops from an expert 3 super hardcore activity, something like that. So if you want the super juiced version of a gun, and you want a good chance of getting it, you got to do obviously the hardest version, but this probably also offer ways to, increase its tier using in-game materials if you don't want to do a super hard version of it. I mean, that's just me guessing, but knowing Bungie, they'll always offer multiple ways to reward their players depending on how you want to play. Also streamlining how reward pools work so it's less confusing, because right now it's literally all over the place. So a lot of words that basically will result in the game being easier to understand, higher quality of life. But right now it's just a bunch of words on a blog that people kind of zone out with. So, and then this concept of new gear, where certain activities will be limited to just brand new gear that's just dropped. Think like a Crucible playlist option or seasonal events where only new gear is allowed. Weapon crafting will still exist. One of the cool things about weapon crafting they mentioned is that going forward, it's going to provide a catch-up mechanism. So it kind of seems like for new loot, things won't be craftable until it's like a season old. Maybe. So if you want to grind something and get the god roll, you can grind it super hardcore for the first season, but eventually it'll be craftable. So if you never got your god roll, you can eventually get it, which I kind of like, because I kind of miss the RNG slot machine grind. Instead of just getting 5 blueprints and calling it done, 5 red borders, calling it done, get to chase it for a little bit. Like it'd be cool because I never got my lead from gold Volt Shot and Deaded Kindness from Warlord's Ruin, even though I've tried to grind it a lot. It'd be nice to finally get it at some point, but I'm not really miffed that I haven't gotten it so far. So again, I think this info will be not super well received by the community as a whole. I think community sentiment is very low with all the bad news about the layoffs, and how it looks like, and there's all these leaks about everything getting shrunk, and this is definitely good information. This is definitely steps in the right direction. I like to see that the core of Destiny is changing. They're experimenting with new stuff. Hopefully it lands well. I think people are going to be whelmed because they're expecting some big marketing thing. They're expecting to see like more shiny things, cutscenes and whatnot. But it's all words on a page. Best summary yet. Yeah, like it's good to hear from Bungie. I'd have liked to seen less text on a page and more actual interviews, because I feel that that's more personal and you can relate to that better. When there's too much text, people kind of gloss over it, and because it's just devs talking about their game. But it makes me hopeful, because we know that they're still heads down working hard on Destiny. I would like to see further than a year or two out, but it seems that since they're being so experimental with how they're changing the game, I think they're going to keep that close to their chest and not set expectations that could ultimately end up changing. Like, where's Destiny 3 at in this timeline? Is there even a chance? Are you ever going to drop the 2? What about the new player experience overall? Because right now it kind of sucks, and Portal seems to help that a little bit, but not completely. Yeah. But they're still working on Destiny. We still got raids and dungeons. Still got a reason to grind. And today's the 10-year anniversary for Destiny. Woo! Yeah, there's no live stream. There's just a blog. Just a bunch of text. It's still good info. That's the problem. Like, it's still really good info. I think these changes are good. I love the idea of not putting so much dev work on a one-shot campaign that we only play through once and that's it. I'm just worried that's going to cause new players to show up even less because of this expectation that like the solo single player content has been squeezed to be even smaller. And I hope that's not the takeaway. And I hope it just improves the health of the game because they're able to focus more dev effort on things we play daily. Strikes, core playlist stuff, activities, rewards, etc. That's the cope. And that is the update for paving the way for new frontiers for Destiny 2.